Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Tactical Breakdown series, a show in which we look at players in an analytical way, look at systems, football teams, oppositions, matches, the whole lot in the most analytical and statistical way feasibly possible for your listening pleasure. And we've been doing it across the season with new signings, new players, different formations, and you're going to see today a different style of episode, new sort of thumbnail. Hope you're enjoying the content and hopefully you're enjoying the crisp and clear audio with the new purchase, thanks to your donations of a microphone as well. So let's dive straight into the video, because we're going to be talking about Nicolas Pepe. And obviously it's fantastic now to see that Nicolas Pepe has signed for Arsenal, club record fee, €80 million spread across 5 seasons, which is a great structure for the club. But ultimately we want to know what this Ivorian international is going to be doing for our club. So if you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, please subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment in the comment section below as to your thoughts. Comments are always great, read through as many as possible and reply to as many as possible too. So enjoy, sit back, relax and listen to what is going to be a really in-depth discussion about what Pepe brings to our front line. So we should really start with something that long-time listeners to the show have seen before, and that is Nicolas Pepe's heat map, which, as you can see on your screen now, how Nicolas Pepe operates. He's definitely a right winger, we know that, but he's not the type of right winger that always takes the ball to the byline as often and then cuts the ball back. As you can see, the intensity of that heat map is definitely retracted further back into the pitch, back further from the box. He likes to cut inside much earlier, be that for a pass or going inside to find a shot, or actually to find a cross and swing one into the box as a curling effort. And we're going to go through all those scenarios and how he actually helps the team moving forwards. But we'll talk about the goals first, because they're easy. Obviously 22 goals in Ligue 1 last season, 9 were from penalties, but as we'll talk about a little bit later on, the fouls that he suffers in games lead to a lot of those penalties. And if you were listening to the Arsecast that's just come out with Clive, good friend of the show, Clive has been on, Clive highlighted the fact that VAR coming in next season is going to be huge, and players like Pepe are going to win countless penalties because of their style of play, running into the box, dribbling, creating situations where mistakes can be made by defenders. And so that about the amount of goals that has come from penalties is no issue, because a large amount of those were won by Pepe in positions where he could have easily scored from. But the fact he scored 22 goals, and he still has to score those penalties as well, is a great return for a player of his quality, and it's a reason why we've signed him. But there's different ways in which he finds the net. You can see there that he finds one from cutting inside and shooting across the keeper with a curling effort, finding that bottom left or top left hand corner. He also likes to take a precision shot to the keeper's near post from also cutting inside. You can see a theme developing here. He uses that raw strength and power in his boot to find a shot which is going to beat the opposition keeper, or ultimately he has the speed. When he joined, he said that he is rapid. That's what he likes to say. He's very quick. And he gets in behind defences, gets into those one-on-one situations in which he is very deadly. But they are the goals, and they are things that we know that he can do. But I want to focus a lot on what he's actually going to bring to the Arsenal side in terms of his passing and his dribbling. So we're going to look at some different situations on the pitch and the different formations that Arsenal may show and use to get the best out of the Ivorian international. So you can see the first scenario here. Now this is quite simply Pepe close to the byline, close to the throw-in line, if you want to call it that, on the right flank. And he's got the options from midfield in Ceballos, so we obviously signed from Real Madrid. It could be Ozil, it could be of last season, it could have been Ramsey, who is obviously now left, bursting forward, getting into the box, getting into an attacking position, and also Lacazette making that run in behind the defence. And he simply tries to make that ball. He did it for Lille last season. You can see in this example against Nimes, where the midfielder has run through, got past the defensive line, and he's timed that ball to perfection to get it in behind and get the Lille midfielder through on goal. It also works in more of a situation where he's more comfortable, where he likes to cut inside. You can see from the graphic how he's moving in. Bellerin, being our right back, would overlap him. In the former, obviously, it would have been the Lille right back overlapping Pepe, and Lacazette also making that run. But there's also other options on the pitch, but we start with the one with the striker or with the attacking midfielder. In this case, it's a Kone, making that run through the midfield past the triangles that the defenders and the midfielders of the opposition are making, which is a very common shape you see midfielders and defenders linking up to make, because it makes it very difficult for players to try and find those passes. But Pepe finds no trouble in this example against Dijon. He finds the ball through and Akone is there to run onto it. In the next example, you can see you've got the out-swinging run of the right back, taking players away from Pepe to make him space. Bellerin does that extremely well, and you'll see that into next season. And then you've got the striker Leao making that run through the middle, easily getting on the end, and hopefully next season we'll see Lacazette getting onto the end of plenty of chances created by Pepe when he's cut those defences in half. You've also got a situation here where he's made a lot of space for himself in the middle of the field, and he does that, and then he finds that key pass breaking through the line, seeing the run of the striker, which in this case is Leao, but it would be Lacazette hopefully in the future, against Strasbourg in this example, and he finds it extremely well with a weighted pass which is perfect for the striker to run onto in time for him to then get some sort of shot away. You can then see the final example, which is talking about how when he runs inside, maybe the striker in this case, in the example against Nice, has made his run too early and therefore is in an offside position, but Pepe is instinctual enough to find the run of the left winger. We assume that it would be Aubameyang playing in that role. It could be Iwobi, it could be Mkhitaryan, it could be Nelson, it could be Martinelli. We've got so many options now in that role that we could find plenty of players playing there. In this case, it's Bomba, and he gets that ball in behind, finding Bomba, the left winger, the French left winger, who's had a fantastic season as well. Expected him to make a decent move. Obviously, Lille don't want to let too many of their fantastic players go. But he finds Bomba with that run, splitting that defence. Again, you can see a triangle was formed with additional defenders to provide extra cover, but he breaks that shape and finds the ball in behind for Bomba to get onto. Now, this different scenario is something that I think we'll see a lot happening a lot more often, because obviously we play with a right back in Bellerin or Maitland-Niles, being covering for when Bellerin before he comes back from his long-term injury issues. Bellerin likes to run in behind and overlap the right winger. Now, because Pepe is obviously left-footed and he likes to cut inside, what we'll see a lot is this scenario where Bellerin runs in behind and Pepe is allowed to play that inverted ball in behind. Now, in the research that I didn't see him doing it too often, so I imagine that this will be something that will be coached into Pepe and using his abilities of his key-weighted to perfection passes. But there is an example here where you can see the Lille fullback against Toulouse getting in behind, and Pepe plays that inverted ball through the defence, through the defenders to find his fullback rushing on to try and get onto the end of the ball. So it is something that I definitely think that Arsenal will utilise in Pepe moving into next season. Then moving on to the type of crosses that we see from Pepe. Now, he is, as I've already mentioned, a predominantly very strong left-footed player playing on that right wing, which you usually see him inverting, getting into the box, playing some sort of passing behind or taking a shot from the edge of the box, finessed, or to the keeper's near post. But you do find scenarios where he does go to the byline, but because he's left-footed, as you can see from the two examples against Toulouse on the screen, he has to cut back onto his left foot, which can allow the defender to get a little bit more closer, put more pressure on him, and that means his crossing isn't always going to be the most accurate because of the pressure that he has to put himself under to put the ball into his onto his stronger foot. He also tries to get closer a little bit further into the box to make some of his crosses a little bit more dominant, but you also see sometimes he is forced to use his right foot, and that can lead in this example against PSG here, where it's much easier for the defenders to cut a much weaker pass out from what the Ivorian can produce. But at the same time, it's good to know that he is still trying to use his right foot. I'm sure it will improve as he goes through his time at Arsenal, especially when he's going to be playing in a more of a system where it's more dominant. Arsenal players and Arsenal systems under Emery have loved, with Kolasinac and Bellerin, getting to that byline and playing a sharp ball across. Aubameyang loves to feed off those low-driven crosses across the box, and so Pepe is going to have to add and try and develop that skill and improve his right foot if he's going to play on that side. Alternatively, we might see him play in more of a freer role. He could play on that left-hand flank, and if he does play on that left-hand flank, we have seen that his crossing has been a lot better. We've also seen that a driven ball can be played across the box, so possibly if he is played on the left wing instead of the right, which I still think is unlikely, but if it does happen, we know that that's going to be much more suited to the strikers in Aubameyang and Lacazette that we have. But it's good to know that if he is predominantly on that right-hand side, he has the ability on his right foot to try those crosses, and hopefully will improve those going into next season. You also see it sometimes, because he doesn't like to use his right foot, drag the ball further back away from the byline, and more of a curling effort and an in-swinging cross, like Xhaka does it a lot when he's found in the centre of the box, an in-swinging ball into the box. Pepe does that really well from both of the sides of the pitch in either half, and so often that leads to either a little flick-on chance, or either the keeper comes and collects the ball because he's overplayed it. But he can play those curling in-swinging crosses, making space for himself with those dribbling. And then speaking of his dribbling, this is where we get onto the fouls that he actually creates. He suffers plenty of fouls. He suffered a total of 105 last season, 2.67 per match, which is a lot of fouls that he's creating chances. What he likes to do is basically kick the ball beyond him, running down that right flank and getting a situation where the defender has to come across and either take him out or he's getting past him, because his pace is so rapid that he likes to get him behind really, really well and take on defenders. That creates a lot of chances, but also means he gets fouled a lot, and other chances are created from free kicks. He also likes to go across the box, and that's because he's using his technical skill across the box. He gets a lot of chances created from free kicks because he's been fouled just on the outside of the box. So that, for something with now Arsenal, and Pepe is someone who can take free kicks quite well. We've got Xhaka who can do it, Lacazette as well. Plenty of players in our Arsenal, yeah, pun intended, have been obviously used to use free kicks. And so if we're creating a lot more chances through free kicks on the edge of the box, I think it's certainly something that Arsenal will utilise moving forwards. Not only that, but obviously the fouls that he creates will mean that we've got a much more offensive route into the box, possibly winning penalties, as we've already discussed. He scored 9 penalties last season, and a lot of those were created from himself, from running into the box. And with VAR being in use next year, we could see a definite increase in the amount of penalties that Arsenal create and get for themselves. So it's going to be really positive to see what Pepe does moving forwards. I hope I've given you the most tactical breakdown you could possibly imagine in terms of the attacking strengths that you can find from Nicolas Pepe. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think that he will be adding to the team. What do you think he's going to add most? Do you think it's his goals? Do you think it's a dribbling ability? Or do you think it's his ability to actually find plenty of key incisive passes to get our strikers or other wingers through on goal and creating a lot more chances for the Arsenal? It's been an absolute pleasure as always. I'll see you again very soon, and as always, up the Arsenal.